Hey, God bless you guys, and welcome to church on Monday today. So excited that you guys are here and have joined us tonight for another episode of Church on Monday. As always, I want to take this first couple of minutes just to invite you to share this with somebody. Send this link to at least 2, 3 people right now. So I'm gonna give you guys a couple of minutes so you guys can share this video. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like the video, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and share this with 2 people. So I'm gonna give you guys a couple of seconds so you guys can share this, send this to somebody right now, and let's get church on Monday started today, y'all. If you're here, say what's up. Say what's up if you're here. Anais is here. Make sure you share this. Share this with somebody right now. Share it. Send the link to somebody. And make sure you like the video, subscribe, and then we'll start right away. It's Monday, y'all. Michelle, my wife, is here. Send this to somebody right now. Come on, let's do it. Let's do it. If you're here, please share. Like this video, subscribe. We'll start in about maybe 2 more minutes, so you have time to share. 5 people are here. If you're here, say hello. We're gonna probably open up the phone lines today, maybe. So stay tuned, y'all. Church on Monday's here, so thank you guys for joining. Please share this with somebody. Welcome to church on a Monday. Hope you guys are doing well. Amen, y'all. Amen. Thank you guys for joining tonight for church on Monday. As always, I appreciate you guys so much. Welcome to Evidence of Grace Church. We exist to introduce people to God's grace and equip them to impact their community, their families, just to impact the world. So thank you guys for being here. Evidence of Grace. We believe that God has called us to leave evidence of his love, of his grace, of his mercy. And I'm praying that, church on Monday has become a routine for you every Monday at 9 p.m. It's become a kind of a staple in your Monday, that you wake up on Monday and you say, I can't wait, church on Mondays today. So I'm excited that you can sit back for this moment and you can just listen to a word of encouragement. Church on Monday are biblical truths that you hear on Sunday that you can apply throughout the week. I said this last week that when we hear a sermon on a Sunday, we should be able to apply that truth the next day. And when we learn to do that as a church and preach sermons like that as a church, we're gonna start seeing changes. We're gonna start seeing people come to Christ. We're gonna start seeing you say, "Man, I really dig what you're talking about." So thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you guys for being here, joining us on YouTube. As you can see right now, we are focused primarily on YouTube. We probably won't do Facebook for a little bit, but who knows? So thank you guys so much for being here. As always, please share this with somebody. As you can see by the title of the video, if you clicked on the thumbnail, it said the messy middle, right? It sounds a little crazy, right? So if you're home right now, if you have a notebook, if you have something, um, just take notes. Take notes. Follow along with me. The messy middle. If you could describe your life using one word, and I wanna, give you guys some time. So take your time. If you could describe your life in one word, what word would that be? Right. Once again, if you could describe your life using one word, what word would that be? Would it be pretty, beautiful, ugly, slow? So think. I'm not gonna ask you guys to post the word in the comments, but I'm gonna ask you guys. I'm gonna tell you guys just to have that word in your mind and really, keep it while we speak on this today. Keep that word in your hearts as we begin to have this conversation. Because for me, my word, I'm gonna share my word is if I could describe my life using one word, that word would be journey. It'd be a journey. And I believe that every person, if you're watching this video, if you're going to watch this video, is on a journey. And I'm gonna keep saying this until we remember it and we etch it into our brains that every journey is unique. Every journey is individual to each person. And the thing that I love most about God is that even though God is a God of many and God is the God of all who love him, and that word all is I can't even put a number to how much all is. The God we serve is so powerful that he has an individual relationship with every single person. I don't know if you can kind of really understand that the God that is revealed to you is not the same God that's revealed to me, right? The God is the same, right? In his foundation, in his essence, God is the same God. God does not change. But there is an individual design to that relationship that God has with you. And we see it throughout the Bible, how God would talk to Abraham, how God would talk to Jacob, how God would talk to Paul, how God would talk to David, how God would speak to Solomon. And these are all, men that went through the Bible, how God will speak to the woman of the Bible as well. It was individualized to that person. So I want you to have that in mind and really think when I speak about the grace of God, when I speak about the love of God, I'm talking about a God that can mold himself and create a connection with you in a way and in a level that you understand and that love and grace is revealed to you. Right? I don't know if you understand that, let me know in the comment section. But I think that's really powerful to understand that. And I believe that the reason why we have so many people who are hurt by religion, who are hurt by things, is because religion, in a sense, and this is another conversation, but religion, in a sense, creates a mold of what a relationship with God looks like. And this is like I said, this is a very deeper conversation. They are fundamentals that you need to have in order to establish a good relationship with your father, right? There's things you need to do, a life of prayer, a life of trying your best to stay away from sin and things like that. That's like basic stuff. You learn that in Sunday school. But when we begin to put people and apply your level of your connection with God, how you know talk to God, and we want to apply that to across the board, we begin to have people who say, "Well, that doesn't really work for me. That doesn't really apply to me. That doesn't really, that throws me off." We had a conversation about prayer, how people pray, how people read the word, how people sing worship. It's different across the board. So I can go to a Hispanic church, the Dominican Republic, and God is there, and I can also go to a church in Africa in the middle of nowhere, and God is there as well, because God transcends culture, he transcends languages, he transcends ethnicities. He's not limited to a denomination. He's not limited to fast songs, worship songs, slow songs. God is not, religion in a sense puts God in a box, and God is too big to fit in the box we call religion. You know, the God we serve is about relationship. Now, let's look at our life, right? You're born, you live, and then you die, right? And it sounds scary, and I'm really sorry, but this is the truth, right? You're born, you live, and then you die. In other words, there's a beginning to your life, there's a middle, and then there's an end. And for most of us, if you're alive right now, right, and you can communicate, you know, once you're born, you're no longer the beginning. That's it. That stage is. We can get into a whole different conversation of when the beginning starts, and I guess this is where the whole, you know, the life people come in, and you know, we can. That's another topic. I'll leave that to my wife when she comes on. She can handle that. But once that life begins, now the journey begins. Now you're in the middle, right? And the end is when you're no longer here, right? So I want to speak to those people who are watching, who find themselves in this journey we call life, in the middle, right? You're in the middle right now. I want to speak to someone tonight on Church on Monday, who finds himself in the middle of life, in the middle of a transition, in the middle of a decision, in the middle of a change, in the middle of turmoil, in the middle of maybe anxiety, in the middle of depression, in the middle of happiness, in the middle of joy, in the middle of a blessing, in the middle of prosperity, in the middle of despair. And I could keep going, because the middle is such a big part of our life, that we often neglect it, and we just live life. But this is the middle is so important for many of us, even me today. The middle is messy. It's a messy place to be. The middle is messy. From point A to point B, for me to tell you, oh, for you to get from point A to B, you just have to go, right? From here to there, just walk. But the process for you to get from point A to point B is not an easy one. It's not an easy process. But one thing I know for sure is that God has promised to walk with us, and walk with us no matter what. So there's a truth here that I want you to remember this, that God has promised to walk with you no matter what. So the middle that you're in right now does not scare God away. It doesn't push God away, because God has promised to be with me to the end. And the Bible says that even after that, he will be with me. So God initially has entered into contract with us, broken, unfaithful, unloving, sometimes, you know, dumb humans. And God has entered into contract with us through his love, through his mercy, to walk with us through this messy middle. My mess is not the same as your mess, and your mess is not the same as my mess. We should never shame someone for the journey they're in. We should never shame them. Everyone's journey is different. And like I said earlier, when we create a framework or standard, it hurts people. Religion hurts. It hurts. Church hurt is real. Like, people say, well, if you went to church and you got hurt, well, then your eyes, you went to church for the wrong reasons. No, you go to church for community. You go to church because church is a place. The same way, like if you go to the hospital, it's like if I go to the hospital and I don't get healed, they tell, well, that's because you wasn't listening to the doctor. Well, no, that doesn't work that way, right? You go to the hospital because you can get help there. If not, you would stay home. The same for a church. You go to a church because it offers a community of people. There are leaders there. There's resources there. There's support system there that will help you through your walk through this messy middle that we call life. Religion, in a sense, teaches you that the messy middle that you're in right now keeps God away. And the Bible teaches me otherwise. The Bible teaches me in Genesis 1 that God, in a sense, is drawn to mess because he knows what to do with it. God is the only person that can take something negative and turn it into a positive thing. He takes what's broken and he uses it for his good. He takes what's hurt and he uses it for his good. Genesis 1, we see that the earth was without shape and void, and God decides to take his time to organize this mess, to fix this mess, to take his time and put things where they needed to go, to take things away, move things around, because God is not afraid of mess. God is not afraid of disorder. On the other hand, when God sees that, and when he sees that you are really interested in changing and you really need help, God begins to work in that middle, and he begins to begin to mold, begin to move, begin to take things away, to add things, to guide you, to heal you in that middle, because God is a God that promised to walk with you no matter what. So when people try to shame you about a mess, what bigger mess than Genesis chapter 1? The beginning of existence of the world. What bigger mess than that? You're not a bigger mess than that. And if God can take that and create everything we see today, just imagine what God can do with what you have going on in your life. Psalms 23:4 says, even though I walk through the valley of shadow and death, I would fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. So even though you find yourself in that middle season right now, where if you're honest, I'm not really doing too well. God is present. I want you to, if you're going through something, remember that God is present. What does your middle look like? What are the things that you are going through at this point? You have to give it a name. You have to identify it. Why? Because I believe in my heart that God is going to begin to use those things that you identify. Like, this is what I struggle with. This is what I got going on right now. That God is going to begin to use those things and begin to heal, begin to restore, and use those things to glorify himself and to show off his grace and his love and his mercy through your life. I want you to find peace and comfort knowing that your mess is not a deterrent for God. You have to find peace in that, because shame is not biblical. Shame is not biblical. Shame is not biblical. Matter of fact, there's a product of sin. It's a product of that disconnect. That's why, the gospel, salvation, in a sense, serves to kind of eliminate that shame, so you can have access to the Father, and you can come as you are, and you can come, you're free and without any burden, knowing that if I show up, God is going to listen to me. Shame is not. It's not biblical. God does not want you to feel shame. And shame keeps so many people in where they are. So many young people that are going through things. It keeps them where they are. So many adults, so many women, men, kids, everybody. It keeps them stagnant because they are afraid of what others might say, what the system might say. Well, you're not supposed to be going through things like that. You're not supposed to be thinking like that. You're not supposed to be talking like that. And shame is destroying so many lives. And the reason why I brought this today is because I hope that you really are hearing this out. And if you're watching this, please share this with somebody, so that while you're hearing this, I believe that God is going to begin to break those chains of shame over your life, so that you can feel at peace knowing that I can talk to God. Right? The other day, there was a visitor that came to our church, and he had regular clothes on, and he's from outside, and we invited him to come to the front. We were serving some food there, and he said, "Nah, man, I don't feel comfortable going up there. I don't feel comfortable. And the pastor, which is our pastor of our church, senior pastor, said, "Listen, I got a suit on, but this is clothing. This is just it just looks different than yours, but at the end of the day, it's clothing. It all goes to the same place. It's not the clothing that matters. It's not that that's pointless. It doesn't mean anything. It's what you have in your heart. It's the intentions of your heart." And in a sense, I saw him when you heard that, he kind of let his guard down, like, oh, okay, I'm in a safe place. But how many people feel unsafe? Like, how many people have felt unsafe, walked into a place where they felt like, well, this is where I'll be restored, and have been shamed and have been humiliated and have been, well, this and this and this, and that doesn't heal. That hurts even more. And the shame is not. You cannot shame someone to change. You cannot shame someone to strain themselves. Shame, and on the other hand, what it does is that, in a sense, it makes you hide who you really are, and then you end up fighting those battles behind closed doors, and nobody knows about it. This is what shame does. When somebody doesn't feel the liberty and the freedom to speak to someone, and to speak to a community, and to speak to their parents or their pastor or whoever it is that they haven't. What shame does is that shame tells you, you gotta fight these in a hidden place. Like, you cannot show people just your battles. You gotta fight this on your own. And it's hard to fight battles that way. Listen to me, y'all. It's hard to fight battles alone. To fight battles, what I call invisible battles. They're not invisible to you, but shame tells you to keep them invisible from others because of the fear of what others might think. But I came to remind you today that God is not a God of shame. God is a God of freedom. Freedom. You need to walk in that freedom. I don't know what you've heard. I don't know what you've been taught. But listen to me tonight. God is calling you to walk in freedom. Freedom. Not only freedom to do freedom. I'm not saying freedom to do whatever you want. I'm talking about a freedom that provides peace. A freedom that provides honesty. A freedom that makes you want to be transparent with God, and if you have a good support with those around you as well, because shame will never allow you to grow. The middle is where God moves. The middle is where he speaks. The middle is where Peter calls out to Jesus, and Jesus grabs him by the hand and walks with Peter on the water back to the boat. The middle is where Peter throws his nets once again, and his nets begin to break because all the fish that they had in there. The middle is where Joshua picks up the 12 stones as a sign that God divided the Jordan. The middle is where change happens. The middle is where healing happens. The middle is where restoration happens. The middle is where change, true transformation begins to happen. In the middle is where God's grace is revealed to you. So I don't know why people, pretend like, oh, I got it all together now. No, because if we go back a little bit, you also had a messy time too. You happen to have it all together now, but at one point you had a messy middle point where you were stuck there, and God worked with you. And if God did it with you, he could do it with someone else. Change will happen. And I want to speak to those who are feeling that shame today, who were probably shamed by a leader, maybe a family member, maybe, a place or church or whatever, where you felt shame. I want to speak to that shame today. And I believe that the power of God's grace can break that shame off your life. I don't know if that shame has probably kept you away from church or kept you away from re-engaging or speaking to God. There's people that say, well, I don't want to pray. I don't feel comfortable praying because I'm just in a bad spot. I don't know if you've heard that before. But I've definitely heard people say that. I don't feel like I should pray right now because I'm just a mess. I'm a mess. Well, I don't feel like I don't feel like I have to talk to God. Where did you get that from? Who taught you that? The Bible says that those who come to him, he doesn't reject them. He doesn't push them away. Doesn't matter what condition you're in. It doesn't matter how ugly your mess is. It doesn't matter how broken you are. It doesn't matter how destroyed you are. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter. You need to walk and accept that freedom that you can go to your father just as you are, and he will listen to you. And not only listen to you, but he is willing and able to provide you with what you need. Do not let the chains of shame hold you down. Do not let the chains of shame keep you where you are. I don't know what the situation is. I don't know what it is. And there's people that, their mess is a very big mess. Maybe it's a really ugly mess. Maybe if you do say, what you're going through to the people around you, maybe they might look at you crazy, but there is a God that is reminding you today that he is the Alpha and the Omega. And there's a reason why, and I've always thought about this. What happens to the middle? Why not Alpha, the middle, and the Omega? Right? Because God, and this it's such a powerful thing here. He can take something from the beginning and he's willing to walk with you through the middle, no matter what happens there. Doesn't matter what happens. You might leave, you might come back, you might run away, you might leave him, you might get closer to him, you might sin, you might fall, you might betray, you might do a bunch of stuff. But if you're willing to give God your beginning, God is willing to walk with you through your messy middle and leave you and lead you to a beautiful end. He is the beginning and he is the end. If he started it, he's going to finish it. Believe that. And I believe there's many young people who are listening to me, and I really believe this, who are going to see this, who are going to watch this. And I believe that God has started a work in your heart. You know that. I know that, and you know that God is nudging at your heart, speaking to you. He's starting something. And if God started something, he's going to finish it. And I am no one to judge what happens from point A to point B. But if God is involved, not man, because man we mess things up. If God is involved on this journey we call life, I can guarantee 100% that at the end, you will become a product of his grace and of his love. Different, everybody will be different, but if God is involved, you will become evidence of grace. So I hope that you really listen to these words and you really keep them in your heart. As always, I ask you to please share this with somebody. You might not, you don't know who you're gonna bless with this. Pretty soon we will have a live in-person church on Monday. So you guys, we will provide some details maybe at another time. But I wanna gather with some people, church on Monday, because church on Monday is not just a day. Church on Monday is a culture. Is a mindset. It's a mentality of living, not just for Sunday, but living for the rest of the week. So God bless you guys. Good night. Please pray for our ministry. Pray for us. God is doing amazing things. And thank you for all of those who are here, who share, who watch, who tune in. Even if you come in and leave, Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys next Monday at 9:10 p.m. here on